The forest was alive with sounds of birds and rustling leaves. Disciples sat quietly, waiting for the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha raised his hand, and silence enveloped the gathering. "Listen carefully," he began, his voice steady yet warm. "Compassion is the root of all meaningful leadership," he said. "Without it, power becomes hollow and devoid of purpose." There was once a king, Brahmadatta, ruling Benares. He was wise, loved, and respected by his people, the Buddha continued. But one year, a great drought afflicted the land. Rivers dried, crops failed, and hunger spread among his subjects. The cries of the people reached the palace. The ministers devised plans, but none could ease the people's suffering. King Brahmadatta, moved by compassion, decided to act personally. He ordered his grain stores open to feed the starving. But more than that, he chose to walk among his people, disguised, to hear their pains firsthand. Buddha narrated, at a small village, he met an elderly farmer, weary and weak. Sudatta hesitated, questioning, "Master, how can we find peace when the memory of betrayal lingers and divides our hearts?" The Buddha replied calmly, "Forgiveness is the balm that soothes pain, the light that restores love in fractured connections." Sudatta and Anuruddha listened closely, their hearts stirring as the Buddha's wisdom illuminated the path towards reconciliation. "Both of you have suffered, but suffering breeds wisdom when nurtured by introspection and understanding," he added with a gentle smile. The brothers exchanged glances, the intensity of their animosity giving way to vulnerability and an urge for restoration. Leadership requires not just decisions, but personal connection. Returning to the palace, Brahmadatta declared, "I am not above you but with you." Sudatta stepped forward, his voice trembling, "Brother, I have let anger consume me." Forgetting the years we laughed and struggled together. United, they worked tirelessly to overcome the devastating drought. The rains eventually returned. But the spirit of the kingdom was forever changed. Compassion had mended broken spirits, Buddha said. The Buddha looked at each disciple, his gaze calm and penetrating. From compassion springs unity. From unity emerges resilience, he added. A disciple hesitantly raised a hand. "Master, how can compassion guide us if we also face selfishness in leadership roles?" The Buddha smiled gently. "Compassion is a flame. It does not diminish by sharing. It ignites others, dispelling selfishness and greed." "But Master," the disciple persisted, "what if one's compassion is exploited, taken for weakness? What becomes of the leader then?" "A leader must discern wisely, balancing compassion with clarity and firmness," Buddha answered. "Compassion is not weakness. It is strength. True compassion recognizes when to heal and when to guide firmly. It does not enable harm or perpetuate suffering," he said. Another disciple spoke. "Master, can we learn compassion, or must it be inherent? What if it feels unnatural within us?" "Compassion, like any virtue, grows through practice," Buddha replied. "Begin with small acts of kindness. Gradually, it becomes a guiding force. Start by understanding the interconnectedness of all beings," Buddha continued. "When you see yourself in others, compassion arises naturally. Imagine a bird building its nest. Does it not also teach us to care for our fragile interdependence?" he asked. Ananda observed the bowl's emptiness and asked, "Master, why do you carry a bowl that holds nothing to sustain you?" Buddha smiled, stopping beneath a tall tree whose roots curled into the earth. "Do you find the bowl heavy, Ananda?" Ananda took the bowl from Buddha's hands and held it aloft. The disciples pondered his words, some furrowing brows in thought. The forest seemed quieter, as if absorbing the wisdom spoken. A cool breeze swept through, carrying the scent of blossoms. The Buddha resumed after a brief silence, his tone reflective. Kalyan approached. his voice sharp and his eyes clouded by fury as he accused his father of favoritism and unfairness. "My father has betrayed me, Master," Kalyan said, his emotions surging as he recounted moments of perceived neglect and unjust treatment. He sought counsel from a wise elder, who said, "Your business reflects your heart. Hardened hearts reap barren fields." The Buddha gazed at them both, his words soft yet profound. "Anger is a fire. It consumes the heart, leaving ashes behind. Leadership is not confined to thrones or titles," he continued. "Every act of influence, whether grand or small, deserves compassion. Reflect on this. A compassionate heart moves mountains, while a callous one erodes even the firmest foundations," Buddha concluded. The sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The disciples sat in deep contemplation. "Tonight, meditate on compassion," Buddha instructed. "Envision yourself as a vessel of care, uniting those around you with wisdom and love." With that, the Buddha rose, signaling the end of the day's teachings. The disciples dispersed, their hearts brimming with new insights. As they walked, the forest seemed more alive, its beauty amplified by the profound lessons of compassion shared by the enlightened one. Another day, another lesson unfolded under the vast blue sky. The disciples gathered, their anticipation heightened by the morning's stillness. The Buddha walked slowly to the center, his robe flowing gracefully. He paused, taking in the presence of each disciple. "Today, we shall speak of power in its delicate nature," he began, his voice calm yet carrying immense gravity. "There was once a merchant named Sudatta, renowned for his wealth and influence. He held great trust within his guild," he said, "but as his influence grew, so did his arrogance. He began to disregard the needs of those around him. One day, a farmer approached Sudatta, seeking aid for his wilting crops. Vaishali flourished, its people weaving compassion into their lives. Guided by the wisdom shared under the ancient Bodhi tree, the Buddha journeyed onward, his footsteps bringing light to the shadows of suffering, guiding humanity toward interconnectedness and peace. The story of Kalyan and his father became a reminder that even in pain, love has the power to transform and heal." Generations remembered the Buddha's words, incorporating forgiveness into their lives, nurturing connections that enriched their families and communities. Thus, the teachings endured, spreading like ripples across the vast ocean of existence, touching hearts and kindling hope in distant lands. Another day, another village steeped in turmoil sought the wisdom of the Buddha to mend wounds born of family discord. His fields, his family's survival, seemed doomed without the merchant's help. The farmer turned to a smaller guild. Though less powerful, they agreed to assist him. His gratitude was boundless. The siblings accused one another of betrayal, jealousy, and neglect, their anger building walls that kept reconciliation out of reach. The Buddha listened, his silence encouraging each voice to be heard, his presence a vessel for their pain and confusion. When the family quieted, the Buddha began, "A family divided is like a tree whose branches turn against the nurturing roots." His words echoed in the stillness, carrying the weight of truth that pierced through the noise of lingering resentment. He turned to an elder for guidance. The elder looked at Sudatta and said, "Power is like water. Held tightly, it escapes. Held wisely, it nourishes." The Buddha smiled gently, addressing the family. "Healing begins with understanding that no individual is entirely faultless nor wholly blameless." He turned to the father, asking, "Do you see your children's struggles? Their fears? Their hope for your love and guidance?" The father nodded slowly, his tears revealing the remorse he carried for failing to recognize the depth of their pain. "Master, if power can corrupt even the wise, how can one guard against such corruption while leading others?" The disciple said, "Power, like fire, must be respected but never worshipped, the Buddha answered. They listened closely as he continued. Choose forgiveness over pride, kindness over harshness, and you shall see the barriers fall. The youngest daughter spoke timidly. But Master, how do we forgive when memories of pain and betrayal linger so vividly in our minds? The Buddha replied, memory clings, but forgiveness liberates. True power lies in service. Leadership is the burden of helping others. A leader must not seek power for its own sake but as a tool to create harmony and uplift others. Sudatta learned this truth after his fall. He rebuilt his life by serving others, not dominating them, the Buddha explained. Power balanced with humility becomes a force for good. Power wielded selfishly becomes a shadow that darkens all it touches, the Buddha's words echoed. Through the forest, disciples sat silently, reflecting on their own responsibilities and the weight of influence. A cool breeze swept through the trees. The sunlight danced on the leaves, creating patterns on the earth below. Imagine the river, the Buddha said suddenly, his voice breaking the quiet. Its power is not in force, but in flow. It shapes landscapes not by aggression but by persistence. Adapting yet unwavering. A leader must embody such qualities, he added. Power that harms eventually diminishes. Power that heals endures. Let this guide you when you face leadership's inevitable challenges. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video. Address the root, not the symptom. Lead with patience. True leadership invites others to walk alongside, not follow behind. Authority imposed is fleeting, but trust earned is everlasting. Sudatta, in his later years, became a mentor. He taught others the lessons he learned from his own arrogance and fall. His humility gained him respect far greater than his riches ever had. His power lay in his ability to connect. The Buddha's voice softened as he continued. Leadership is a balance of strength and softness. Too much of either leads astray. A leader who fears appearing weak becomes rigid. A leader overly soft loses direction. Balance is where wisdom lies. Reflect deeply on your intentions when you hold influence. Light ripples gently, carrying compassion far, connecting hearts across distances. Every mindful act touches not just one life but many, creating harmony that spreads beyond immediate perception, Buddha explained. The disciples bowed in gratitude as the Buddha rose, signaling the end of the session. They departed, hearts filled with introspection. Sudatta's story lingered in their minds, a timeless reminder of the balance, humility, and purpose required to wield power ethically. Another day, another moment of profound teaching awaited. The disciples gathered at dusk, the sky painted with gentle hues of twilight. The Buddha sat near a small flickering lamp, its light casting soft shadows. His presence brought calm to the assembled group. Today, we reflect on the interconnectedness of all beings, he began. Leadership thrives when rooted in understanding this deep truth. There was once a queen named Samudra, loved by her people, though unaware of certain grievances brewing within her kingdom. Samudra faced rebellion when her policies unintentionally harmed a remote province. Her court urged her to crush it forcefully. Each flame begins humbly, but together they form brilliance that strengthens as interconnected unity. Mindfulness grows not through haste but through consistency, deepening with every shared moment of awareness, Buddha explained patiently. Disguised as a commoner, the queen ventured into the province. She walked among the villagers, observing and listening quietly. In a bustling market, she overheard a farmer saying, "The queen's taxes have emptied our grain stores. Who cares for us?" Samudra felt their pain and realized the harm caused by her well-meaning yet flawed policies. She returned to her court, standing before her advisors. She declared, A ruler who ignores her people's struggles fails them. Ananda looked toward the horizon. Master, does light guide forward movement, ensuring mindfulness continually grows rather than remaining stagnant? Buddha gazed toward the distant moonlit landscape. The rebellion dissolved, and trust was restored. Stronger than before, the Buddha paused, letting the story settle within his disciples. Sariputta asked, Master, can distractions extinguish the light entirely, leaving only darkness for those struggling to rekindle clarity? Buddha relit a candle and said, distractions may dim the light temporarily, but mindfulness always finds paths to rekindle brilliance amidst the shadows. Darkness teaches resilience. Mindfulness transforms obscurity into deeper clarity, Buddha concluded patiently. No decision is made in isolation. Our actions ripple outward, affecting countless lives. Recognizing this interconnection brings humility, clarity, and responsibility, the Buddha continued calmly. A disciple raised a hand, asking, Master, how can one stay mindful of interconnection while facing the immediate demands of leadership? Pause and observe, Buddha replied. Like this lamp's flame, your decisions illuminate paths, but also cast shadows unknowingly. Reflect on who your actions will touch and what unintended consequences they might create. Awareness strengthens leadership's foundation, he added. Another disciple spoke. Master, what if others reject interconnection and act selfishly? How can we counter their harm as leaders? Lead by example, the Buddha said. The web of interconnection cannot be seen but is felt. Inspire others through actions, even amidst selfishness. Acts of kindness and understanding weave threads that strengthen the collective fabric, he continued with calm resolve. Imagine the roots of a tree, he explained. Though unseen, they connect and support the entire forest. Nurturing its growth, the disciples nodded, their understanding deepening. The forest seemed to echo the Buddha's words. The wind rustling leaves in agreement. Leadership rooted in interconnection cannot thrive through force but flourishes through dialogue, empathy, and collective effort, the Buddha emphasized gently. A king's throne, a merchant's wealth, a sage's wisdom, all are meaningless without the lives they touch and support, he explained. Reflect deeply on this truth, he instructed. See yourself not as separate but as a strand within the vast web, a leader who truly embraces interconnection acts with integrity, ensuring their actions uplift the whole rather than benefiting the few. The disciples listened intently, their minds tracing the threads of relationships and responsibilities interwoven in their own lives and roles, the Buddha continued. Samudda's humility and willingness to listen transformed dissent into unity, rebellion into trust. Leadership's strength lies in this. The lamp's flame flickered, yet it endured, casting light upon the faces of the disciples, illuminating their silent contemplations. Tonight, the Buddha said, as you meditate, envision yourself as both the lamp and the web. Illuminate, connect, and nurture wisely. With those words, he rose, his movements fluid and graceful. The disciples bowed deeply, carrying the teachings within their hearts. The evening grew quiet, the stars appearing one by one, as if to bear witness to the Buddha's profound guidance. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.